for you, and they may or may not come from those areas that you're consciously aware of. Does that make sense? Your abundance and your prosperity is a reflection of your self-identity. Look for the opportunity to do the best you can. Look for the opportunity to encourage people. And I'll tell you something. Everything that we're talking about now, and we're talking about abundance and prosperity, is an automatic reflection on your physical condition. As soon as you allow yourself to be comfortable, to feel good, and somebody had a healing here a moment ago, out of you doing what you want to do, out of you feeling good about yourself, you heal yourself. Excuse me, you feel better, you look better. You're not dealing with those ideas of resentment anymore. Abundance and prosperity is nothing more than an effect. The way you look and the way you feel is nothing more than an effect. The relationships that you have in your life are nothing more than an effect. Don't try to get anybody to be your mate. Don't go out looking for anyone, because when you go out looking for anyone, you're coming from a place of need. You're coming from a place of desperation, and you will experience the level of that desperation in your experience. Did you hear me? Does that make sense? You become indifferent. You could care less who you're going to meet. However, when you're living out of your own self-identity, when you're living out of your own self-expression, out of your own self-awareness, there will be people in your life that will come out of the woodwork, and they will always represent the level of your self-identity. Don't come from a level of desperation. I got to have someone in my life. I got to go out to meet someone. I got to find someone. Because what you're going to do is you're going to create someone coming from a place of need. You are so incredibly creative that you will create someone who represents your self-expression. Be the best kind of relationship to yourself. And out of that experience, relationships will flock to you. If you're not good to yourself, you will create people who will support you in not being good to yourself. If you're considerate to yourself, if you know that you are the best there is, there will be people who will come into your life who will support you in what you are knowing about yourself. Don't have to worry about them. Don't try to change anybody. First of all, you can't change anyone. Be accepting of other people as you would like other people to be accepting of you. And most importantly, dare to be yourself and encourage other people to be themselves. And what's going to happen? Consciousness always becomes form. You will create those people who will support you in you being you. You don't have to put on masks for the people in your life, for the job that you have, because the more you do that, you're denying yourself. And out of an idea of self-denial, you create more denial. Consciousness always becomes form. That's the principle. And out of your own self-awareness, you will experience the true nature of who you are. You're unlimited. You don't need anyone out there. However, what happens is people are automatically drawn into your life that reflect your self-identity. However, it's not coming from a place of need. You have children in your life? Encourage them to be themselves. That's a toughie. I have a son who is a musician. He's a guitar player. He's a brilliant guitar player, and more than anything else in the whole world, he wants to perform in a band. That's his great desire. Now, I could take a position and say, but that's not practical. I would love for you to become an accountant. You know, it's steady, you know. It would certainly satisfy me. I don't have to worry about you. Can anyone identify with that at all? Okay, on either end of the spectrum. I'm telling you that I know how important it is for me to encourage my son to do what's good and comfortable for him. And that's what I'm doing. I want you to know that's not what I was taught. That's not my upbringing. That's not my background. But this whole stuff is not my background. This is not, I would venture to say none of us was taught any of this stuff. And I know that when my son is happy, he's tapping into his own creative genius. And it's not important that he satisfy me. It's absolutely not important that he satisfy me. It's more important that I encourage him to have his own experiences. It's more important that I encourage him to be the best possible guitar player that he can be. And out of that experience, I will be fulfilled. Let people go in your lives. Let them be themselves. And you will experience magic in your life. You don't have to go after anything. Because when you're going after something, you're coming from a place of desperation or need. The acorn doesn't need anything. You are self-sufficient. Oh my God, what about all the people I'm supposed to have in my life? They're going to come automatically. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about what you're not going to have. Put your point of attention on who you are. You are self-sufficient. You don't need anyone, but you're going to have people anyway. You're going to have people who reflect the degree of your self-identity. And when that identity takes over, it attracts to it everything that represents itself. You may not get people to do what you would prefer they do, but you know, we talk about expectations. How many times have you tried to fulfill someone else's expectations of you, and you missed one time, and whatever you did before that didn't count? Can you identify with that? Well, you can't fulfill anyone else's expectations. The only thing you can do is be true to yourself. Now, is this anarchy? No, it's not anarchy. It's the only intelligent way to have a relationship with anyone, whether it be your husband or your wife or your lover or whomever. Because if you're not living out of that self-acceptance and that self-reliance, if you're not living out of that self-identity, then you're living out of an identity of dependency. My good will depends upon you doing something for me. My existence is dependent upon you doing something that I need you to do. So I'm dependent upon you. It's a horrible existence. How many people in your life depend upon you to be different than what you are? You know, that's the old story of the slave and the master. If you represent in someone's life that you have to fulfill their expectations, then you become a slave to them. And if there's someone in your life that you need to fulfill your expectations, then they become your slave and you become the master, and the dichotomy is that you need them to be a master. So you become a slave. Did you get that one? Did anyone not get it? The only way you didn't get it. Okay. Let me run that by you again. If there's someone in your life that you need to behave a certain way for you, and they are fulfilling that way for you, then they become your slave, and you are the master. However, you need them to remain a master. You are dependent upon them to be a slave so that you can be the master. So you can't escape it. The only way you can escape it is to let everyone be free. Well, what about my relationships? They're going to go down the tubes. They're not going to go down the tubes. The quality of your relationships will always reflect the quality of your self-identity. Any questions? Okay, we're going to take one more 10-minute break and then we're going to wrap it up. 10 more minutes. And take another seat, please. And there are going to be some papers underneath your chairs. Please leave them there. Don't touch them or disturb them. Okay. Where are we now before we start wrapping it up? Anybody have any questions or things they'd like? Okay.